that we'll have to also map with the step definition. That means all the codes, logic, this is in the plain English language, right? So this we have to map with the all the logics that we have to write. All the logics that we have to write, along with that, it has to get mapped. Okay, so in this session, let's see how do we create a step definition file which will map the logic over here for these particular steps to the step definition. Now we have a given, we have and which is again a part of the given itself, and we also have an and which is again a part of given itself. So we can create three different given for the step definition. When is one when you click on this, and then is one, then what should you have to validate the scenario. So that is what we're creating in the step definition. So let's create a step definition file over here, and we'll give the name as, let's say, we'll give the name as login underscore steps.js. Okay, inside this, what we have to do is here we have given the test case, or we have written the test case in the form of Gherkin language, which is by inside the dot feature by using given, when, then, and so on. So these we have to map it inside the step definition file as well, right? Which is login underscore steps.js. Now what we have to do is we have to just create a step definition file inside this, and as we are trying to use a playwright-bdd library inside this, so we can also import some of the features from the playwright-bdd over here. Okay, so first thing that we can import is one of a function that is available inside the playwright-bdd known as create-bdd. This will help us in importing some of the required keywords, which is given, when, then, and then some of the hooks again, which we can utilize inside over here. So that we are trying to import it from playwright-bdd, which is one of a function that is available inside the playwright-bdd known as create-bdd, which will consist of all the keywords that we can utilize in terms of a playwright-bdd framework. Okay, now let's start writing. But when you start writing the things over here, we require certain things that we have to write by using a given keyword, right? So when you say that, when you just type it out, given over here, it is not displaying anything, right? Here it is not displaying anything. What is this given available, right? And we also have to map this feature that we have written. What the feature we have written? I navigate to this particular URL. Right? When I navigate to certain string value that we have provided over here, so that we have to write it inside the feature specific things, which is when I navigate to the parameter, that means in the form of string URL that we can take it over here. And this will again take a function which we'll be writing over here as an asynchronous function, which also gets the data in the form of URL that we have to get. So where this URL will be coming from? This URL will be coming from the string that we have taken, that we have defined directly inside the feature file, which is this value. Okay. So inside this, again, we have to write certain logic, which will go over here inside this particular function. What kind of logic what we have to write? So we are now traversing to the like launching of the URL and then perform certain actions. Now this launching of the URL is available inside the login page. Right? That means we have to create an object for a login page and create it, call this inside the step definition function. Now we also have to say it as module.exports over here to make it as a public class. Module.export, when you make it as a module.export equals to the class name inside the curly braces, that means we are trying to make it as a public imaging. Okay, and that means we have to create an object for a login page. So we also have to import the login page over here. We have to import the login page. And what we can do is we can create this object for a login page inside some hooks. We can use a before hooks over here, which will be again available inside playwright-bdd. But those are not suggesting over here, right? So let's do one thing. Import all those keywords that we require from BDD, which is given, when, then, and before. So that we have to import it from, that we can import it from again, from here, the function that we have already imported. So this function, we can call it that. From this function, we are trying to import all these keywords. And inside the before, we can take the page fixture. Inside the before hooks, we can take the page fixture over here, which will help us in performing certain actions that we have to do, like launching the browser, launching and creating a page inside the browser, and then launching the browser and other things will start happening. Okay, and then perform this over here, which will also get stored inside this. And inside this, we can create an object for a login page. So let's define a login page variable over here, by using which we can create an object. So we'll simply say it as login page equals to, by using a new keyword, we have to create an object. And as soon as you see that we have created object for the login page, it have been imported over here as well, right? But it also requires a page fixture. So that page fixture now we are providing over here. Now what will happen is, as soon as the execution starts, it will go to the before hooks, create an object. And when it creates an object, this page fixture will go inside the login page constructor and initialize the page over here. And one by one, all these values will also get initialized. So that we have given, we are trying to create it inside the before hooks itself. Okay. Now in this one, what we have to do is, we have a method that we have created as a launch URL. So that method we can call it over here, which is await login page dot launch URL. We have a launch URL which will expect a URL. So that URL we can provide it over here. Where is this URL will come from? The hard-coded value that we have given inside feature file. Okay, so inside this we have a method known as a launch URL. That method we have to call it over here inside the launch URL. Right. Now again we are basically taking this URL. So we also have to call some other methods as well. Right. So we have given and I enter username, which is in the form of string. I enter password, which is again in the form of string, and then click on login button. Right? And these and are a part of given. This and are a part of given over here. Right? So that we can again start creating over here. So when it is a part of given, we can simply write it using the given as well. If you see, and is not available over here. And is not available inside the BDD Cucumber. And is a keyword which you will not find inside create BDD over here. So it has given certain things. What we can utilize is all the different keywords that are available, but in this case, and is basically not available, and that is what it given over here inside BDD. Okay, so instead of that, or let's see what happened when we use an and over here. In this case, let's provide the and over here. And what we have scenario over here is that inside the feature file, when I enter username, right, and I enter username. So we have given again and keyword, enter username in the form of again string, right? and again write a asynchronous function which will take a value as a username. This username will again be coming from the fixtures dot feature file itself. So that enter username we can call it over here. Enter username over. And then in the same way, let's create one more and which is saying a password. So you have to provide the same name that it has given in this case. You have to provide the same name that we have given inside the feature file, right? The same things that we have given inside the feature file, we have to also provide it over here, which is I enter password, right? I enter password string, this one, and we have to take a password over here and call the method which we have for enter password. Enter password. And this password we can pass it over here. Okay. And then we have one scenario when what is the scenario that we have is when I click on the login button. Simple. It's pretty simple. You can just write it. When I click on the login button, take an asynchronous function. And inside this, we do not require any parameter to be available. Right? So we can simply write it as await login page dot click login method that we have written inside this, which is click login. Okay. And last one that we have is by using a then, I should see the page containing some string value, right? So that we can again write it inside this, which will be in the form of then over here. So then using a then keyword, I should see the page containing some kind of value, right? Containing what kind of value? Again in the form of string over here, right? And that we can take an asynchronous function, which we can again take, we again have to take the value over here, right? We have to take the value. Which value? The we basically have to write certain other things as well, which is this is basically for the assertion, right? So we can import assertion over here, which will be an expect function. Expect that we will import it from playwright test module. So playwright test module, right? So using this assertion, we can call all the values. Now, what do we have to do over here is simple, which is await all the assertions will always go inside the test layer. Wherever you are trying to write, let's say step definition, inside that we have to write the assertion. You see? Okay. Again, by using expect login page that we have created, and from there we have a success message. We have a success message as a locator that we have written. So that we can call it over here using success message. And then we have another method known as to contain text, right? So to contain text is available on the expect function, which will help us in validating the contains part, which is value, right? But how do we validate the value over here in this case? We have given one value inside the success message, right? So that message we have to provide it over here in the form of um, uh, whatever the value that we are trying to get. So where are we trying to get the value? We are trying to get the value from, again, the file itself, like feature files. Where is the feature file? We have given logged in successful. Inside the feature files, we have given a logged in successful. So that logged in successful message, we have to import it inside. Again, like we have to get it inside our step definition file. So here we can get those value, which is, let's say I'll just say it as message. So what kind of message? It will again come from the step definition from the feature files. Okay, so this is the complete step definition we have written using again for the playwright specific, where we have used a before hooks, we have used given, and I think like and will not work, but let's see what is happening. Okay, So that's about the creation of a step definition. And in the next session, we'll start execution of the test case and then see how it works. How it